Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with estate planning attorney Brian D. Lerner. In this particular episode, I'd like to talk about what happens if you decide not to get a living trust. I have clients ask me that all the time, and when I'm doing my question and answer periods, they essentially say, well, there's not a lot that my husband or whatever has, or my wife has, whatever it is, and I don't think it'll really help, and just don't want to pay the money to get it done. So I think if you understand in more detail as to what the purpose of a living trust is, um, and why you should have one, that it will make it clearer why you shouldn't just go without it and decide to let happen whatever happens. Now, keep in mind that for first of all, for people who have any real property at all, it would be a real good idea to have the living trust so that you can have the property go to whom you want to. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't be set up in such a manner that it might go to where you think you want it to go to, but why take the chances? Why allow any ambiguity at all as to where you want it to go, when if you do the living trust, it'll be designated exactly, and you'll be able to have peace of mind as to your real property. I mean, think about it. um, you've worked a lot of years to even save up for the down payment of the house. You've worked a ton of years to pay off the mortgage. Why would you work all that time and through all those years, so that just so after you would die, possibly there'd be people who say no, he wanted it to come to me, or he wanted it to go to somewhere else. And then there'd be a court battle and people would be fighting up and down. Why not have it so that your intentions would not be followed, and the people who you love the most end up fighting and having bitter battles in probate court because it wasn't decided through a living trust where it's supposed to go. I mean, when it comes down to it, even though the living trust is 20 pages long or whatever it happens to be, the bottom line of a living trust is it states what you want and of what it is. Now, it's a legal mechanism in order to make all that happen, and there's all kinds of provisions. But obviously, if you pass away, you cannot you cannot tell go. You can't then say what you wanted. There's no way of knowing. And anything anybody says as to what you wanted is not going to carry a lot of weight, because the courts, everybody's going to be thinking they're only trying to get it for themselves type thing. Okay, or they're trying to benefit somebody else for some reason. So the living trust makes it so that your intentions will be followed, assuming everything was done properly. So let's go through a couple things. First of all, um, whenever anything is in a living trust, it does not go to probate. It doesn't mean that start a probate, battle probate court, but the living trust itself can have all of its elements executed and done by the trustee who has been designated in order to be able to follow your intentions. And there's nothing with the living trust that needs to be filed, and there's no judges that need to make decisions. It's a lot less expensive, and not to say it might not take some time depending what it is that you have in the living trust. But at least one of the biggest reasons in California that we do living trusts is to avoid probate. Secondly, um, many of the people who do living trusts have children. Okay, and they want to make sure that, for example, their house, well, after they die, can ultimately go to the kids. Well, how do they do that? I mean, how would you know, and what legal mechanisms can be used so that after you die, excuse me, so that after you die, Your spouse, for example, will be able to use the property for the balance of his or her life, and then it will ultimately go to the kids. How's that done? Through a living trust. There's mechanisms in which to do that. There's also mechanisms to save tax, to get deductions. There's all kinds of stuff that could happen. Now, I know that it costs money, obviously, to get a living trust done. And you could, the least expensive scenario, try to find some form online and do it, which is better than nothing. But if you pay an attorney to properly do your living trust, um, just think about the peace of mind you're going to have afterwards. I mean, you don't have to be 85 years old to do a living trust. Let's say you're 30, because none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow. We all are invincible. We all think we're invincible, and nothing's going to happen for X number of years, but who knows? So you get the living trust done, and boom, you have peace of mind. And again, it's just like, you buy car insurance, you buy house insurance, whatever it is. I mean, you buy those because the law makes it, or you can't get a loan for the mortgage unless you have it. But um, the same thing exists here. So just put a little away, save up, get the living trust done, have peace of mind. And then, once every 5 years, visit your attorney again to update the living trust, see if there's any new kids that are out there, new properties, and so forth. I mean, it should include all that anyways, but it's always best to. So if you like the video, click like, go ahead and subscribe, and then you can call my office, give you a free consultation, let you know what can be done, and then we'll go from there. Okay, more on the coming videos.